Hello, my friends and future funeral professionals, and welcome back to another episode of Megan's Study Guide to the NBE for Funeral Service. So, for this episode, we're going to be covering pretty much a short and sweet crash course on ears because honestly, if you don't know your ear anatomy and terminology, that could easily cause you to fail your sciences. So, I want to make sure. I've been struggling putting this together. It was a request, and it's a good one. The difficulty is I can read you all the definitions and terminology, but I can't show it to you because it's a podcast. So I'm going to be doing my best. I will describe to you the parts of the ear. I just need you to feel along with me, like touch your own ear while we do it. I have two resources that we're going to use. I have the book from D.E.A.D. We are going to be referencing pages 138 and 139 from the D.E.A.D Sciences Study Guide. All right. And then I also have a Quizlet that's just going to fill in the gaps and give you the rest of the ear terminology just to make sure we cover everything. You likely will not need all of the parts, but it's just good to know. There's not a lot of info out there. So truthfully, I just wanted to make sure that you had any weird random pieces because I know for a fact that I saw something on the eardrum and that's not really covered in the book. So it's also in your RA textbook. Let's see, pardon my flipping sounds. If you go into your restorative art and science textbook by Clicker that I've recommended that you guys read, you're looking at page 46 has the diagram and then all of chapter 6, but page 47 starts off right off the bat with ear. So it gives you the ear rundown. And I can't read this because it's copyrighted. So highly suggest if you have it, it's a little different from what we have in D.E.A.D. It's very short. Give yourself a look at that. Apologize I can't read it, but that would violate copyright, and I'm already being audited right now for this podcast for the third time, so I don't want to lose it. It doesn't make me money at all, truthfully. I pay to have this up here. It's my passion project to help you guys, but do yourself a favor. I will also put that in the notes, of course, but make sure you hit that before you take that exam, okay? Because I'm not kidding. If you don't know your ears, you could get 10 questions. I also tell people stop going off of the pie chart that the conference gives you. It is not Bible, and it's wrong. They cheat, okay? They don't want me to tell you that, but they cheat. I personally, accounting was most of my arts when I took my arts, okay? In no way should it have been. But the way they do and the way they make this pie chart, and if I hear anyone tell me, oh, well, the pie chart says that, I will absolutely slap you with a fish in the face, okay? I will slap you in the face with a fish. There we go, I got it. It's currently 3:10 a.m., and I'm behind on getting episodes out, so please don't judge me. I'm just here for you. No, but seriously, what they did to me was they used the way the questions are formatted. They'll put 3 different topics into a question, so that's how they're able to classify it under those things in the pie chart. It's all a lie. Do not save yourself, because that was the fatal error I made. But I didn't have any resources. I didn't have this to tell me focus on this book, so I just trusted the process. And no, it made me laugh at how awful that pie chart was. So any hoodles, we are going to go ahead, and I also have I want to make sure I touch base on this. My very last thing is going to be a Quizlet called Parts of the Ear Anatomy by Megan_Brooks 7. So we're going to hit that after we hit D.E.A.D Study Guide, okay? So I want you to sit here, and we're going to go over parts of the ear while feeling our ear, okay? So I'm touching my right ear, so I want you to do the same so that if I use anything, it adds up, okay? If you do not have a right ear, I am sorry. I'm not trying to be ableist. just try to imagine your left. I don't think I'm going to be using any terms that make it specific to the right, but regardless, I digress. So, first and foremost, the ear is called the pinna in Latin, Pinna. So we're going to be starting with the helix. The helix is the outermost part of your upper ear. So I want you to take your finger and you feel that hard, like kind of like a wrapped around thing on the top. There's like a nice thick piece of cartilage, and it's like a tube that wraps around the top part of your ear. You feel that? And there's a crease. Probably get some wax in there, or is it just me? So that, my friend, you are touching your helix. Now, as we go down, we're going to start feeling that roll go away, where there's no longer that little crease, okay? Now, you're going to keep following it all the way down. That's still your helix, even after that crease and that roll piece is gone, all right? But it turns into your lobe, where people get their ears pierced. People get their hair pierced and their helix at the top too, but it turns into your lobe. Okay, so we're holding our lobe. Now from the lobe, I want you to go up, like feel that little weird, mine's triangular in shape. There's like this little, like kind of sharp in a way piece of cartilage. It feels like a little blip, almost triangular, but not quite, like a rounded triangular. Okay, that's called the antitragus, that little piece above your lobe, okay? So what I want you to do is follow after that antitragus, that little pyramid. I want you to follow the inside of your ear, where, you know, not necessarily the helix, but we're just going to go up into that inner cartilagey piece, the really large part of your ear. So as we travel up, we're going to go to about the middle of that big open cartilagey piece, okay? I hope you can visualize it. We are now one layer in, and not the part where we put the Q-tip, like we're going to go clean it, which I know you're not supposed to, but just for y'all to understand where I'm at. So not Q-tip region, but the outer part of that. So not the helix, where it's the outermost piece, but that one up, okay? So as we go up from the antitragus, we're going to now hit the antihelix. That's midway up, all right? Now, as we go up, there's this piece of the ear that goes around the helix, like that. You know, when I said it kind of curves, it's like a little roll, curls inward. That fold is called the scapha, okay? So now we've touched the scapha. That's where that roll ends, okay? Now along the scapha, on the main part of the ear, it has two pieces that kind of divot when you go closer to facing your face. It kind of makes like a weird U shape. So that's called the crura, C-R-U-R-A. It's hard to describe a picture, isn't it? But that little piece, it raises up, and there's a depression. The depression is called the triangular fossa. Okay? And you could put your finger, like your finger will fit right in that bad boy. Okay, so then we are going to start going into Q-tip region. So if we follow the helix, you know, the top of the ear that rolls, if we follow that, instead of going the way we did, downwards towards the back of the head, if we follow that going downwards forward, like front of face forward, right? We'd go downwards. If we do that, that little roll piece turns into the crus, C-R-U-S, as it meets. This is what starts that area for Q-tip region, all right? That's the crus. It's hard, and it goes, kind of separates that top part of the inner ear to Q-tip region. We go into Q-tip region. The fleshy part that goes around where you shove your Q-tip for that feel-good satisfaction is the canca, okay? So if you have your finger and you're, like I'm right now, moving my finger around the outside of the ear hole, if that makes sense, that is the canca. Now, where you put your Q-tip that you're not supposed to, okay, it's called the external auditory meatus. And last but not least, if you come out of that and you go and you just feel your finger pulling down right above the lobe, between the tragus, that little triangular piece that faces your face, and then that triangular piece that's closer to like the back of your neck, head area, that little U-shaped thing, is called the intertracheal notch, okay? When you see the image, I highly suggest looking at my diagram later, and then when I read this, you should have a better idea of what you're doing, right? So, moving on to the description given, or the information given by the D.E.A.D study guide. So, the ear, or pinna, which you do need to know the Latin. They very well may ask you, it's like the easiest question if you get it, and you listen to me here. The ear, or pinna, which is the Latin word for wing, it could ask you what does the Latin word mean, is the lateral external features of the face that are a part of the auditory system. The design of the ear is to protect the external auditory meatus. The ear facilitates the collection of sound so that the internal mechanisms of the ear can process the signals as part of the hearing process. The ear is composed of cartilage and is attached to the side of the face with connective tissues. Now, this is important. It's bold and it's italicized. So, listen, okay? The ear is on an even horizontal plane with the eyebrow and the base of the nose, okay? Thus, the ear is, and this is important, the ear is 1/3 the length of the face. The ear is 1/3 the length of the face. Also, from ear 1 passage to the other ear passage is 2/3 the length of the face. So, again, one ear passage to the other ear passage is 2/3 the length of the face. The back of the ear is on an even plane with the angle of the mandible. From the tip of the nose to the external auditory meatus is the same distance from ear to ear. Okay, that's also important. From the tip of the nose to the external auditory meatus is the same distance from ear to ear. This is very important. There's several ways that they may ask you this. Restoration of an ear begins with a firm and dry tissue. This is extremely important. I can't tell you how many times they're going to try and ask you a question mark type question. The question mark shaped design. They refer to it a lot. I'm not kidding. The question mark shaped design, that immediately is going to be an ear. Okay, just understand that. Should be matched to either a photo or the undamaged ear. The most common restoration for the ear is the treatment of discoloration, aka postmortem staining. During the embalming process, most stains can be removed through massage and pinching of the ear tissue. The remaining stained tissue can be treated with a phenol-based compress secured with a plastic stretch wrap. Now, like I've said in so many episodes, you need to empty your brain of whatever you've learned working at a funeral home. Whatever you do, that's fine how you do it, as long as you get the job done. No, we all have a method to our madness. When it comes to your NBE, the conference literally does not give a heck what you do. They want you to do what the book says. Do you understand me? I'm serious, because that will slip you up. And I know people who've gotten mad. They're like, that's not how you do it. Yeah, it is to them, okay? they don't care about your argument. So again, treated with a phenol-based compress secured with plastic stretch wrap. Okay? The ear is a warm color area of the face, also important. And during the cosmetizing process, this factor should be taken into account, as well as for hair placement. So here are the definitions of the parts of the ear. The crus of the helix. This is the origin of the helix, which is flattened in the concha. Helix, the outermost rim of the ear. The helix begins at the crus, ascends toward the arch or arc of the helix, then descends and terminates at the lobe of the ear. The helix is question mark in shape. The helix is question marked in shape, okay? You have no idea. Unless you've taken it, you have no idea how important that is. All right, antihelix. This is the inner rim of the ear. The antihelix lies parallel to the descending helix. The scapha, a fossa between the inner and outer rims of the ear. It is the shallowest depression of the ear. Crura, which is C-R-U-R-A, in case I screwed that up. of the helix, the superior and anterior bifurcation branches of the antihelix of the ear. Blah, blah, blah. That was a lot. The bifurcation forms a triangular depression known as the triangular fossa. And next up is the triangular fossa. Depression between the crura of the ear. It is the second deepest depression of the ear. That is also important. Concha. I don't know why, but concha just makes me think of a dance. Concha, Latin. Oh, that's why. So there you go. No. All right. It's too early. I know. So that is Latin for shell. The concave shell of the ear. So my little trick for that for you, you know the conch shell? Just like when you see concha on your exam and you see shell as an answer, just think of a conch shell and you're good to go. That would be my association trick of the day. So the concave shell of the ear. It is the deepest depression of the ear, okay? The function of the concha is to funnel sound into the ear canal. External auditory meatus. Meatus is Latin for opening. The opening or passageway of the ear. Sound enters the external auditory meatus, which is the beginning of the ear canal. All right, tragus, an elevation that serves to protect the ear passage, external auditory meatus. Antitragus, a small eminence obliquely opposite the tragus in the superior border of the lobe of the ear. Intertragic notch, the notch between the tragus and the antitragus of the ear. This is also known as the spillway of the ear. Its shape resembles a spillway. I would remember that because when you see something about like how something is shaped, you can bet dollars to donuts that you're gonna see that kind of word, like that verbiage later on. I'm getting all tongue-tied. All right, lobe, the inferior fatty 1/3 of the ear. Now I'm going to repeat that. The lobe is the inferior fatty 1/3 of the ear. Its anterior margin can either be attached or detached from the lateral part of the face. Okay, so that will sum up our D.E.A.D guide, and we're going to switch over now to our wonderful Quizlet. All right, so parts of the ear, and again, this is by Megan Brooks 7. The malleus, or hammer, one of the 3 small bones in the middle ear which increase or decrease vibrations from the eardrum. The incus, or the anvil, one of the 3 small bones in the middle of the ear which increase or decrease vibrations from the eardrum. The stapes, also known as a stirrup, one of the 3 bones in the middle of the ear which increase or decrease vibrations from the ear drum. Semicircular canals. This is responsible for keeping you upright and maintaining balance. All right. Cochlea. This is important. I don't know why this wasn't in the book. A cochlea, or the cochlea, is a snail-shaped chamber within the inner ear. Changes the vibrations from the bones into electrical signals. That's not important. We went over the pinna. Pinna, this directs outside sounds to the ear canal. It's the ear. External acoustic meatus, a pathway that takes vibrations to the eardrum. I'm just looking at the stuff you need. The ossicles, this is also important. It's Ossicles, in case I pronounced it wrong. 3 small bones located inside the middle ear. All right, vestibule, the central part of the osseous labyrinth, and is situated medial to the tympanic cavity, behind the cochlea and in front of the semicircle canals. Let's see, what else we got? None of these are important. Okay, so yeah, I'll post the link to this so you guys can see it as well. I only read the ones that to me were important for you to learn. There are so little resources to parts of the ear, which sucks because it is very important. I mean, you need to know them because, gosh, it would really suck if you got slapped with like 10 questions and threw you off because you weren't prepared for them. So give these a look, read your RA book, and you don't need David's book to do this because the RA textbook covers it, but I am a big fan of David's textbooks. It's a forever code. If you use my code, which is all capitals MEG and the number 25, so MEG25, you can get $25 off of either whichever book you want, or if you order them separately, because he has an arts book too, you'll get $25 off of each book. Okay, you can use it as many times as you want. You just can't use it in the same transaction. So you get free shipping because you get what I'm putting down. So anyway, that is the conclusion of our episode on the ear. Like I said, please, if you have any recommendations or requests, please feel free to ask. It gives me some ideas for this season because science is so vast. And like I said, I'm here for you. I want this to benefit you. So if you send me something you're having trouble with, I guarantee you're not alone. So I look forward to hearing you guys. If you have an exam tomorrow, if you have an exam later in the week, maybe a month from now, whatever. You got this. You're going to do great. Try not to puke in the parking lot the morning of like I did. I will never live that down. Just have confidence. You know your stuff, especially if you've been listening to these. You know it, okay? And if you're really nervous, just look at it as a way to study, because taking that exam one time, I know none of us want to take it a second time, but if you take that sucker once, you now have the beauty of knowing what you need to know. You saw it. I can't tell you what's on it. I can hint to things that are important, but I cannot tell you verbatim what's on that exam. But pay attention. Don't just go numb and go through the questions. Pay attention to them. And take your textbooks with you. And that way, if you don't pass, you can go out and just highlight what you remember because it's fresh in your brain. And that way, when you reread stuff, you have the stuff you remember being important. So that's my little tip for you guys. Anyway, I am always here. If you need to reach out to me, shoot me an email. Again, my email is laulux, as in x-ray, @gmail.com. That way, you're not getting stuck with the fan mail, because I still get fan mail and people aren't including a way to contact them back. So if you want to just email me directly, my Facebook is Megan Opachensky. It's always open. I've had people comment, "Hey girl, can you just check your inbox?" And I can click your name and suddenly your messages are there. Thank you, Zuckerberg, for the super spam filter that I didn't ask for nor needed. So, there's a few different ways to reach out to me. I've just been a little bit busy trying to catch up with life, so it takes me a little bit to get back to people. But I am here as long as I see your message. But anyway, thank you guys for always supporting me. Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate those of you who just say hello and thank me for doing this, because like I said, it's a paid hobby, but it's a passion project. I want to get you guys to pass. They've gatekeeped this industry way too much already. Literally the least I can do. So with that, have a great rest of your day or night, week, weekend, whatever it be for you. Be well and good luck, guys. Goodbye.